For they have gone up to Ashur. Ashur, which represents the power of the government, the world leader, the beast. For they have gone up to Ashur like a wild donkey alone by itself, like a wild donkey, like Ishmael, who was like a wild donkey. And we see in the New Covenant how Paul explains that Israel of the flesh was represented by Ishmael in the whole story. So Yahweh here in the prophets in Hosea is even confirming that. For they have gone up to Ashur like a wild donkey alone by itself. Ephraim has hired lovers, just like the great whore of Babylon. So if Ephraim has hired lovers, those lovers would be harlots, making the connection of how the people of Ephraim accepted the false doctrine of the great harlot of Babylon. Ephraim has hired lovers. And remember that in the spirit, fornication is idolatry. Adultery is idolatry when you already know that that is wrong and you still do it. Or when you have accepted the covenant with the Most High, yet you go against what He said regarding not worshiping images, not bowing down to them, not honoring in any way any image. So here we see that it says Ephraim has hired lovers, meaning they went for idolatry. Yes, though they have hired among the nations, now I will gather them, and they shall sorrow a little. This is key, because as we read a couple chapters back in Hosea 5:7, the many will have to die in a matter of 30 days. When they don't go up to the mountains, when they don't flee, as in the second Exodus, they will be captured for not taking the mark of the beast, and they will be killed in 30 days. Time the many. Each person obviously will be quick. That's why it says here, and they shall sorrow a little. Just for, like, on one side, Yahweh promises a few to save them, because they were not put in this world for wrath. But there are some, even many, who for rejecting the true Messiah who offered them salvation, instead they only went for justification, and therefore they will have to sorrow a little. Then it says, because of the burden of the king of princes. Because of the burden of the king of princes. It is also oracle or proclamation of the king of princes. Let me see in Hebrew for a moment. Melech Sarim, the king of princes. Obviously, in the positive sense, that will be the Almighty who sends the order, and that has to happen, and He does it through the last, who comes as the prince of princes and becomes the king of kings, as we see in Revelation 19. And they shall sorrow a little because of the burden of the king of princes, which is interesting because the burden could be seen as the fact that he has to testify and then be killed. So because of the fact that they killed the witness like Moshe, they have to sorrow a little because of the burden that they made the last carry, which is to rectify the sin of the apostasy for worshiping the calf. The fact that they also translated as oracle or proclamation would be the prophecy of the last, who is the prophet like Moshe, who becomes the king of kings, being first king of princes, being the princes, the 144,000. Obviously, in the negative sense would be the world leader, who will order their death for rejecting the mark of the beast, for rejecting to be part of his new world order.